What's going on about this Afro think tank? Have you ever wondered why white people, some white people, most white people, hate black people? It seems quite irrational, right? Quite barbaric and subhuman in many ways, because they act upon their racism any opportunity they get. Whether you're hanging out with them on a boat, whether you're hanging out with them in the woods, whether you're working with them, whether you're going to school with them, anytime they have an opportunity to act on their racism, they take it. Their racism is like water. It will find a crack in which to permeate through any barrier that's created around it. All right, this is the psyche of the white man. It's been programmed into them. It's not in their DNA. All right, so white people are not genetically racist. They just are culturally racist because their culture creates, manifests, and programs these people to be racist. Everything about Western society creates the racist. Even when they look on TV, who do they see on TV all the time? Us. Who do they see being successful all the time? Us. Think about this. A poor white person in the middle of America, living in some goddamn podunk ass village in the middle of Utah, Arkansas, Kentucky, right? Got zero opportunity because all those coal mines and those logging companies, they're all gone now. All right, we got different things. So they're sitting here in these communities created, right, to exploit the natural environment, right? But because they're no longer useful as cogs in that particular machine, in that location, they've been abandoned by those rich white people, right? But those rich white people still need them to go out and vote. So they give them red meat and they point at those black people, you know, the successful ones on the TV. Right? When they watch all their sports, right? You know, everybody likes sports. America, sports. But every time they turn the TV, who they see? They see black people. They don't see any white folks. They see some white folks, exceptional white folks, but mainly they see just black people being successful, enjoying the ability to be rich, right? Just by playing a damn game, right? They also see black people every time they turn the TV on as some goddamn law enforcement officer, some damn chief of police, some goddamn FBI director, some goddamn place of importance that they are supposed to have, not those black people, who they've been trained are lesser than. They're supposed to be slaves, products of their forefathers and their world dominating, something that they're proud of, by the way. But now currently they're fighting the shame in their ancestors' world dominating ways, and they don't want to give up the infrastructure created off that world dominating ways. They're living vicariously through their ancestors who were racist, but more actively capitalistic and took advantage in its totality of that racism, right, in order to benefit themselves. And all the descendants of those people are currently the owners of every company that we currently purchase goods and services from. Because keep in mind, that money stayed in their pockets. And they had children, and they passed that money down to their children, and their children opened up other businesses, right, started other projects, because they had leverage that no other regular human being had at the time. Hence, we have billionaires and multi-millionaires, and damn it, we're about to be moving into the trillionaire status. And if you follow the money, and look at all these multi-billionaires and millionaires, if you follow their family money, you see it will lead back to somehow they're making money, whether it been the, you know, stock exchange, insurance companies, export and import of certain products. They made their money off free labor of Africans and indigenous populations around the world. But anyway, we're going to look and see why these people who are supposed to be superior, by the way, all right, who have all the power right now, by the way, right, and own all the apparatuses of influence, right, to disseminate their propaganda, by the way, but somehow the soft power of the culture of black people still managed to defeat them and destroy them and make them feel inadequate. That's got to be saying a lot. If you have everything and still feel inadequate when comparing yourself to the person that you were taught that was nothing but a slave. How about that shit? Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
One of the reasons white people
hate black people
is because we cannot tolerate black joy. We cannot tolerate black intelligence. We cannot tolerate black beauty. We cannot tolerate black confidence. We cannot tolerate black camaraderie. We cannot tolerate anything that frees a black person. There's a level of racism that I think hits differently for black people than it does for Asian people or Hispanic people or Middle Eastern people, or Native Americans even. Each one of those things that people think regarding other races are different with black people, I think. Because again, we don't like black people to be educated. We don't like them to be successful. We don't want black judges. We don't want anything for black people that doesn't directly affect and entertain us. So we can have a black nanny. We can have a black house cleaner. We can have a black teacher. We can have a black coach. We can have black players, but only for the specific things that we feel comfortable with. I think about all those sweet children that have been killed, murdered, when they go out with their white friends. And I think that as much as the trauma of slavery comes down through the DNA, I think also the cruelty of slavery, the desire to hurt, the desire to steal and kill and humiliate and torment and disappear black people is what comes down through the DNA. I think when you do something like that for long enough and you pass it down for the many years that slavery and enslaved people were in chains, that is an instinct with us, cruelty. And I think you can see it in many videos. All the white women and white men that are telling black kids and black families to get the hell out of here, you don't belong. We just don't want you to have more than us, honey. We just don't want you to be prettier. We don't want you to be the beauty standard. We don't want you to be judges or anything like that. We want you to be below us, beneath us. And we've tried so hard to keep you down, and we failed so badly. Because like Maya Angelou said, still you rise. We may hate you, we may beat you, we may do those things, and it makes us crazy that you keep coming back and getting better. We can't stand it. I don't know why that is. White people are the ones that have the ancestors that were closely related to the apes. We are so similar to Cro-Magnon man, Neanderthals. We're fucking pale monsters. I really hate being white sometimes. I'm super ashamed. I think the cruelty lives in us, and it comes down as...
I'm going to tell you right up front, this is going to be a little bit of a long answer, but I promise you it is worth it. This is a history lesson with some brutal honesty, and I know what I'm talking about. I have a bachelor's in history, I have a master's in anthropology, and I've done archaeology and historical work all across the Southeast. All right, and I speak the language of white supremacy. Here we go. Prior to the Emancipation Proclamation, white people didn't feel towards black people the same way that they do now. It wasn't what I would categorize as hatred as much as it was ambivalence, the type of ambivalence that you might feel towards an animal. Maybe not some of you, but think of a farmer, how he might feel towards the cattle that he is castrating and branding. Is that hatred? It's ambivalence. And the person next to him who may not even be a farmer, why would he feel hatred towards the farmer's cattle? You got to remember, black people in this country were viewed as livestock. They were viewed as property. They were not treated or viewed as human in any sense. No right to vote, no right to own property, couldn't read and write, branded, bred, skinned, sometimes eaten. But that ambivalence isn't enough of a motivator to get people to take up arms and go fight and die for a cause that is simply the cause of keeping black people enslaved. And I don't care what anybody fucking says, that is exactly what the states were fighting for the right to do. And it wasn't the states, it was the plantation owners. That's who's in power. The plantation owners were telling the states, the representatives, what to do. And in order to sell this to the public so they could raise an army, they needed to incite fear and hatred in an undereducated and impoverished white community in the South. And so they used preachers, just like they do now, to sell this to the public. They sold them fear, because who better to give you a devil to hate than a Christian preacher? And so we have documented examples of this. Preachers across the South preaching to congregations that if black people were freed, they would rise up and revolt. They would burn down all the cities in the South. They would kill white people and grape white women. And when given a devil to fear, ignorant, undereducated, poor white people will latch on to it. They will not only go and fight and die for that cause, they will pay you for the information. They will tithe the preacher, then go home, put on their boots, grab their rifle, and go out and die so that a plantation owner can continue to have free labor. That's how stupid my ancestors were. That's how stupid white people's ancestors were that fought in the Confederacy. And that's how they learned to hate. They learned to hate because plantation owners needed an army and politicians helped them with the preachers to sell a narrative of hate, to give them a devil to hate. And it permeates so much today that white people still won't go into black spaces, even if the party that's happening looks fun as shit. Let me give you an example of that. Every year, twice a year, HBCU teams have rivalry games at Lad People Stadium right here in Mobile, Alabama. And we love marching bands, and we love football, and we love Saturday nights in the fall under beautiful Alabama sky, but you will hardly find a white person in that place, despite the incredible food in the parking lot, the vibes and the dancing and the music inside, the world-class marching band music in the home of Mardi Gras, where we love marching bands so much that we call the parades the Boom Boom. We named Mardi Gras after the bass drum in the marching band, and white people will not go to that event. Do you know why? Because they are fearful. That's where the devils are, in that stadium. That shit has permeated our subconscious so much that even when we're driving in a car 50 miles an hour down the road, if we see a black person on the street, somebody will lock the goddamn doors. Not anymore. The new cars lock automatically, but you get my point. We were taught to hate you and to fear you, and some of us, most of us, are too fucking stupid to see that not only is that wrong, but it doesn't serve our well-being either. They're using us and taking advantage of both us and you, the black community. Hope that answers your question.
I get so much hate from white people, especially on this app. I get so much hate from white people just for speaking out, just for standing up for black people. In fact, check a couple posts back, I said white people, we invented racialized chattel slavery, and they tried to abominate me on that post. White people got so in their feelings, they tried to come at me. And I don't get it. I mean, this is what I say. White people, there is no solidarity between us. There is no solidarity or white unity. There is none. The only thing white people come together for is hatred over black people. I've said this multiple times, and it's true. If you look at my post, the only time these white people come together, they come together to attack me because I'm standing up for black people. But you know what? This is a lot of reasons why white people don't stand up or for other races and stuff like that, because their own people try to come at them. This is that white on white crime. White people attack other white people for standing up for non-white people.
One of the biggest tools the white supremacists use to control the general population is jealousy. Not just fear of minorities, but fear of minorities being more successful than you as a white person. Because implicitly, deep down, they know that they have a significant advantage over every single immigrant, over black and brown people in the US. Because of factors like racism, all you have to do is look to the government and see how white and how conservative it is. But they cannot accept the fact that somebody who came to America 5 years ago didn't know any English and was able to work themselves into into society, get a good paying job, and take care of their family is more successful than them. They can't accept the fact that there are people who have come to America and done better in a system that was built for them. That is why I believe that a large portion of racism and bigotry in general is rooted in jealousy. It's not just about white people wanting to hoard the resources, it's about white people wanting to hoard them so other people don't get them. They would rather see people of color fail than another white person succeed, because it's never been about success, it's been about preventing others from doing well. That sort of spite is what keeps them going.
I think white people have historically disliked black people because we're honestly jealous of them. Like, for example, right, like, white people have no rhythm at all. Like, we can't even snap our fucking fingers on time, right?
Whenever a white person is like, I just hate Atlanta. Why? Why? You hate the city of Atlanta? You don't like Atlanta? Give a reason. And then any reason. I've never once heard a reason. It doesn't make me go, huh, okay. Just of all the dog whistles to just like blatantly be like, of all the cities out there, I just hate Atlanta. Okay, noted.
Elon commented that he agrees 100% with a post that says, if white men become a minority, we will be slaughtered. Remember, if non-whites openly hate white men while white men hold a collective majority, they will only be 1,000 times more hostile and cruel when they are the majority over whites. White solidarity is the only way to survive. What he's really agreeing to is that if whites lose power, they'll do to us what we did to them. Well, non-white people didn't just wake up one day and start hating white people. They hate being discriminated against, they hate being over-policed and underpaid and ignored and blamed, so their resentment didn't just fall out of the fucking sky, it was earned over centuries by systems that were built and designed by white people in power. So when Elon agrees that white solidarity is the only way to survive, what he's really agreeing to is that white power must be protected. And that only makes sense if the system you're protecting is unfair. So here's a radical alternative. Instead of hoarding power and fearing payback, maybe act like civilized adults. Treat people like equals. Stop building systems that deliberately fuck over anyone who doesn't look like you. And if you do that, becoming a minority isn't dangerous, it's just math. His fear isn't demographic change. His fear is accountability.
Can I get a show of hands of all the white people in this country who are sick and fucking tired of all the other white people in this country who just hate for no good goddamn reason?
Every accusation is a confession. I will not elaborate.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.